Welcome back to another edition of The Bader Show. I'm Mark Bader. Episode 443 today. And, man, an exciting show. A retirement show, if you will. We're going to celebrate the wrestling career of Nahshon Garrett, 2016, I believe, NCAA champion out of Cornell. He won Final X in 2018. He's been on national teams. An exciting style and just one of the most lovable personalities in the sport. Nahshon Garrett, thanks for joining us today, man. How are you?
Mr. Mark Bader, thank you for having me. Man, this is, I feel very honored, and I'm ready to get into some of the good stuff.
The good, the bad, the ugly. I'm sure that all of it happened during your career, but so, like, you know, a lot of accomplishments. I just named a lot of them, but you started, right? You know, most people who do that start wrestling at 5, 10 years old, 12. You know, you started wrestling in 9th grade. When did you think this is going to be more than just a sport? Like, it's kind of turned into your life, right? Was it during high school or not till you got to Cornell?
Yeah, I like that we're diving deep right into it, Mark.
Yeah, let's go.
So it's interesting because when I started wrestling, I didn't have a clue. Like, no one in my family wrestled. I didn't have a clue about anything. I didn't even know the sport existed. And so coming into being exposed to wrestling, which I technically got exposed to wrestling my 7th and 8th grade year. Now, my 8th grade year, I started sneaking to practices. My mom did not want me going to wrestle. She didn't want me getting mat diseases or anything else, which, sorry, Mom, I did.
Got all of them.
We got all of them. Everyone you can get, I got. I'm sorry.
It just happens.
But it just happens. But I did probably my junior or senior, I want to say my senior year. It took me about 4 or 5 years to even think that I would have gone further with wrestling. So I won state my junior year. My senior year, that's when I started seeing that I could do something with this, get to college, and then wrestle beyond high school. So it took a while, but that was when I saw, man, I could actually do something.
Yeah. We got a clip. It's this 103-pound clip. Nikki, if you want. This is like, I just found this on Flow. This was like the first, this you in the red, do you remember this tournament or this time in your life or this match in particular?
Well, I'm trying to find out right now.
Is it 5 counters?
That was, okay, 103 pounds.
Yeah.
I do remember this match. Yes, I do remember this match. And that was my first time down at 103, my junior year. Now, this was, I want to say, at the 5 counties.
I think so.
You guys see the little roll there, that dive under tilt? I started perfecting that. This is that year I started perfecting that. And I was leading the country in technical falls my freshman year of college using that roll. People got so much better at defending it these days, but when I came in, it was I was beating up people with it.
Did you
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the reason why I had gotten so good at it was because my coaches never let me let people go. So other coaches might say, "Hey, you know, you're up by 8, cut them, let them go." They never let me let people go. You freaking hold on to them. And I was a lot smaller my freshman year, my sophomore year. So my grip strength developed wrestling bigger guys. I wrestled with my 125-pounder, Efren Rodriguez and Pang Lee, 135-pounder. And so I wrestled with them every single day. It was a group of 3. That was who went together.
Wow.
And so I got used to wrestling bigger guys. And so when I wrestled smaller guys, I was like, I'm about to beat the brakes off this kid. And if not beat the brakes off him, I'm about to get their wrists and I'm going to freaking turn them.
Yeah, it's like in baseball when they put the donuts on the bat and you swing the bat and it's real heavy, and then you take it off and it's light and you can swing faster. It's like wrestling with the bigger guys, and then coming back down to guys your weight.
Right. Those are the ankle weights. It's like, yeah, the ankle weights. Yeah, training with some ankle weights.
Exactly. You get it. So you go to high school, you learn how to wrestle and get really good at it. You go to Cornell, and like you said, maybe not till your junior or senior year did you think you can move on and go up a level or make a life out of it. Like when you got to Cornell, what kind of expectations did you have? Because I remember you're early on your freshman year, Rob Cole's like, yo, we got this kid, this little guy out of California. He's going to be so good. But everywhere I go, I hear a coach tell me, I got this kid. He's really, this other kid's going to be really good. Or he's the next, and it's like, some of it's real, some of it's just the coach believing, but maybe and some of it's just the fluff you hear. Rob was serious, and it's clear that he was right, but when did you think that way? Like, hey, yeah, I could do something, just a kid out of California at 103 it's not much to that.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I think I started getting, that idea started getting incepted into my brain when I went to Cornell and I was starting to hear from Rob, every day. And so he had this way of making me and our teammates believe what he was saying, right? And so whether or not I knew that to be true, of course, you have faith, belief in your own skills, abilities, and talents, but until it's revealed in the things that you're actually, performing at a tournament, you don't really know. And so there was an ambiguous stage in the beginning, right? Where it's like, okay, am I beating guys who are at a low level? Yes, I'm beating guys at a lower level. Now I'm going to challenge myself against better guys. How am I doing against them? And so I think I started believing, and thankfully I got this pretty early. I wrestled an All-American out of Hofstra. I think he took 8th. And the year before, my TC3 year, my gray shirt year, they call it, I think he had beat me 6-12 or something like that. He was just one of those guys who took me down, cut me, took me down, cut me. And the next year, I ended up beating him by like at least 2 to 4 points, maybe more than that, at our local tournament. And so that was like, okay, I see now that if I can beat an All-American, I can be an All-American. And that was, I think, for me, when it started to become clear that I could do something great.
Okay. Was that your first big win that kind of got you over that hump? Or mentally?
I want to say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say so. That was probably one of the first big wins. And I was aware that I had the skills and the ability. But I just think just the growth, like if I had lost to that guy by a point, I think I would have saw, at least I got better. And so for me, in my life and in my wrestling, as long as I was getting better and as long as I wasn't plateauing, to me, I felt a sense of confidence and growth. And it was always a sense of I am growing. If I wrestled a kid one time and he beat me by this amount, I should either beat him or he should beat me by lesser amount the next time. And so that always gave me a lot of hope that I could continue getting better.
Yeah, we definitely saw you make big jumps. And were you 3rd as a freshman? Am I remembering that right? You did really well. Were you 5th? You were 3rd, right? Yeah, third as a freshman. Amazing. We go from that. And Nikki, we're going to get that Beat the Streets clip here next. You went from this little 103-pound kid that we saw to a guy that, wins the Finger Lakes match against the Hofstra. 3rd place at All-American. And all of a sudden, now you're wrestling to Beat the Streets. You're in Times Square. Like, what do you just remember, before we actually see the clip, or you can go, what do you remember about this experience? And this is only about a minute clip, so we can watch the wrestling and then talk about the experience. But I think this was the first part of the second half.
I remember that Zeke Jones had reached out to me. Obviously, he was a men's freestyle head coach at the beginning of 2014. I have no idea how to wrestle freestyle, really. And so I get this experience. I just am like, I get to be around Jordan Burroughs. I get to be around these guys who first it was just Jordan Burroughs, to be honest. Maybe Ed Ruth also too, because I really like watching him too. But the fact that I got to be around these guys, it was pretty incredible to me. So to be honest, did I know what was going on and how big it was wrestling in this? I had no idea. It didn't really hit me until later on. I'm like, hey, you wrestled with Team USA at one of the biggest events,
on the planet.
In wrestling.
Yeah.
And so it didn't hit me until later on, but I was so not aware of a lot of those things with respect to wrestling. I was sort of in my own lane, and there's just so much I wasn't aware of at that time.
Almost like ignorance is bliss, and I don't mean this in a bad way. You just seem like a young, not even naive, because your upbringing was different than a lot of kids, but maybe naive to outside of your bubble, right? Like that. I didn't realize it was a big deal. What do you mean you didn't realize this? Your Team USA in Times Square against the rest of the world. But it's just like this guy is just happy and humming along, and maybe things are happening around him. He's not always aware. Is that fair?
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, it was the sense of, naive. I just didn't know. I wasn't aware of, Team USA Wrestling, world teams. I knew the people who I admired and idolized, who I was around. But yeah, there was a sense of just not being aware of my surroundings with respect to wrestling. It's so interesting. But also too, I don't think I was exposed a lot to wrestling and even history and the greats until much later on. But to your point, I definitely think naive is a great word.
Yeah. And we're not going to dive deep into your upbringing, but we have a film that does that. And I guess we came in. I think it was before you actually won your title. We came and we did this film with you and Gabe Dean, kind of about Cornell. And really, I just want to take a second and watch that trailer. And I want to get your perspective on the making of it and watching a movie that's kind of about you. So, Nikki, whenever you're ready, if you want to let this trailer go by.
Insane. Yeah. What a great moment.
Right. You can turn that up just a little bit, Nikki.
Your team to be like that because they're going to win.
Screw all the winning and losing. I'm walking off the mat with my pride. I'm not going to sell myself short anymore.
I'll be honest with you, it's hard for me to talk about Nahshon's upbringing because I wasn't there with his upbringing. But I know he had very little. If it weren't for wrestling, I don't know where he'd be.
My life has definitely given me an abundance of perspective. My dad was not around when I was a kid. My mom, she overdosed a couple times. The police came, they took me and my brother. Everything just changed, and it got a lot worse.
He's gone through every single one of these struggles, and he's come out flying colors. I'm very, very proud of what he's done.
I've seen people make excuses all throughout my whole life. It doesn't get you anywhere.
It's how you prepare and go out and wrestle that matters the most.
It's about the journey. It's about the process. I'm only getting better. In the end, you're gonna see the best of me.
It's a mental sport, man. Win or lose, we're just gonna throw down.
What do you think when you see that? What do you remember? What do you feel when you're watching that?
Yeah, man, it definitely pulls some emotion from, the heart, from the soul a little bit, just because I'm a young man and I'm looking back at my childhood. I'm looking back at the growth that's taken place. I'm looking at myself now, looking at myself then, and how much has changed. And, man, it just evokes a lot of, just strong emotion of what life is really all about. And even my perspective then about it being about the journey and not as much about the destination so much. And it's really cool to watch. It's so humbling, but it is so cool to see. It's really cool to see that. But yeah, we've been through some things,
Yeah,
we've been through some things. I'm like talking to me and myself. We've been through it.
Right. Well, you said like, as far as wrestling goes, you're like, I didn't really know about the greats, and I was maybe a little naive about situations with this. Like, did you know like what these films were, what we were doing when we showed up with these cameras and stuff, or was it not till it was put together and online that you were like, oh, this is what this is?
Yeah, I didn't know until the film came out, and I want to say that my the experience and the dramatization of the experience, I appreciated in the sense that people connected to that. I had many people reaching out to me and saying, hey, I was so touched by this. Hey, Nahshon, this, that, and the other. I really felt this way, and I experienced something similar. And so the emphasis on these moments in my life that were very difficult, which in maybe some ways I underplayed in my life just because I never was the type to make excuses for what I had gone through and what I was surrounded by. And I guess what I mean to say by that is when I looked at my life, I didn't think that my life was any different than the hardships that other people experienced. And I'm not one to compare oppressions, but I recognized for myself that everyone goes through hard things in varying degrees. And mine was just the one that I went through that I could handle for my experience. Other people might have a different one, but it may be difficult according to their level of experience, if that makes sense.
Of course.
So I never valued my experience or tried to raise my experience above other people's in the sense that like, oh, I had it harder than you. I never compared oppressions or like thought that way. It was never in my heart to think that way. But at the same, so sometimes looking at a video like this is like, man, that was a little dramatic, or that was, or maybe cut in a way that was maybe made it spin a little bit darker than it actually was. But at the same time, it could have just been that dark. And I'm like willing to accept that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a wild ride. I hope people get to check it out because it just, you get to learn who you are, what you've been through, and what shaped you to bring you to this point you are today. And all of these films, one central theme is like, there's like a problem to overcome, right? Is the problem confidence? Is the problem domestic, issues? What is it, right? And yours was yours, and some people's. But you handled it well, and it made you the man who you are today. And it's funny to see that you're like, yeah, I was a young man. I'm like, you look like a boy. Looking at that, like I remember you showed up in this tie, and I was like, look at this little guy. He's sharp, like. I remember that vividly. It was like a 3.5-4 hour interview, and late one night, I think you were even getting ready to go on a date out to the movies or something, if I remember correct. You're like, yeah, gonna be late. I think maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's what I remember.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. So I guess the last thing with Cornell is just like, man, you're NCAA champion. You freaking did it. You'd been close. You'd been up near the top. Like, what do you remember about standing on the stage after the whistle blows, before your hands raised, or just that whole? Maybe it doesn't have to be that specific, but like, I just freaking did it. Put me in that, in that moment from your perspective.
So for me, the whole year was a year of really expanding into a deeper belief in myself and creator and God. And it was something that became so tangible for me that it was no longer a sense. There was no. I had seen it. People talk about visualization. I truly did see it, as if it was already written in stone. It was already written in my life that this was going to happen. So I had a knowing, an inner knowing, and a deep inner sense that this was going to be my reality. In fact, Gabe Dean will tell you too. Before the match, during the singing of the national anthem, I was crying. I was so overwhelmed with emotion that I started crying. And Gabe comes up to me and, man, what's going on? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I just know that I'm going to win, and I've already seen this moment. I've already been here before, and time is just catching up to a reality that I've been experiencing basically since it was revealed to me that this was going to happen. And so there's this higher experience that's taking place, this higher conscious experience that's taking place that goes beyond even the effort that I put in. even though obviously there was good effort there, it goes beyond anything I could do in the physical. It was a deeper knowing. And so now, doesn't mean it was just going to happen easy, you know.
Of course.
This guy came to wrestle, and it's almost like you have the merging of two realities where this guy's like I see like two things happening, right? So like, imagine, if you believed in like nonlinear dynamics and different timelines and the multidimensional aspects of our being, right?
Let's go.
And so let's very simple way. You have one person's timeline merging with another person's timeline, right? And so it's like, you guys have seen the Marvel movies where you have different superheroes from different timelines. So you had like the Doctor Strange, who was like from C something, and then you have another Doctor Strange who's like the evil guy, and you saw how he became the evil guy. And so anyways, you have Corey Clark's reality and his timeline in which he's probably visualizing himself winning an national title. And then there's my reality where I'm like, I believe I'm going to win a national title. And so you have these two like timelines like merging together through our efforts and through our awareness, right? In my opinion, I think I should have won that match by at least 8 to 9 points. Like that to me was, I think I should have won that match by that much. But for him, he's thinking he's going to win. So the merging of timelines is like, okay, I end up winning by like a point, barely. I had 3 stall calls against me because his efforts and his energy towards trying to win was like chipping away at the reality that I had already seen, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So I ended up winning the match, but like not the way I believed and thought I was going to. I won it. Again, there was 3 stall calls. It was a last minute thing. I'd gotten tired. I got to his legs 3 times. Now this is the interesting part. I was gotten to his legs 3 times. Actually 4 times. The one I had scored, and then there was like 3 other times when I had a very high percentage of scoring. So, but I didn't score those. And so had I had scored those, it opens the match a little bit more. And then, there's a little bit more comfort there with respect to trying to score more, but I didn't score them. So now it's tighter. You're wrestling like, okay, hold on, and now you're sort of like holding on to a win, So in the last like 30 to 40 seconds, I end up taking him down, blast double. And then now I'm riding this guy and he's like extending his whole body. And he's like, giving his best effort to try to win too.
Yep.
So, but anyways, thankfully it ended up working out the way that it was supposed to work out. And the converging of timelines took place to where, I did come out on top, but that reality wasn't going to come easy. Not at all.
You had to make the reality.
Yeah, you had to make it, and you had to be present in where I was. So I needed to stay present where I was, and had I lost my attention because the ref was saying the calls that he was, or the calls that were happening weren't going my way, then maybe that goes a different way. So staying present where I was in this very high level experience, it was that was very important. That was very important.
Yeah.
And so I think belief is what carries you through ultimately at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm sure a moment that you'll remember forever. So. A lot of memories, I'm sure, like that from your career. Another one I want to point to, and we'll bring up this. It's the full match. It's match 3, 2018, right, Nikki? It's Final X match 3 versus Joe Colon. If you want to pull that over, and you want to turn that down just a little bit, Nikki. You won match 1 or 2? Remind me. You lost. You won 1. You lost.
Match 2.
Okay. Match 1 was close or no?
Match 1 was close. It was close, but he beat me.
You win match 2.
It was close, but he beat me.
So this is winners on the world team 2018, wrestling Joe Colon, who's as tough as they come, and world silver medalist, which we all because of everything that happened. But first of all, what do you see when you look at this guy in 2018? What do it's not the boy in the tie anymore.
not the boy in the tie. He's a little more mature, a little more experienced. But it's one of those things where you have to let go. This is it. And yeah, I was ready. I was ready to give it all. And similar to, it's your senior year of wrestling, you might as well. You have nothing to lose. So at this point in time, I'm like, I don't necessarily know if I have anything to lose, and so I might as well go ahead and give my all here.
Yeah, man, up 2-0, 4-0 in the first 20
Up
seconds,
4-0.
15 seconds. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. And then there's there's the coaches in the corner where I'm like, for me, a lot of the times for my freestyle, because I had gotten so good at Folkstyle wrestling, that I would over wrestle positions. But in freestyle, people can use your over wrestling against you.
Right.
Okay, a nice little pick there. But again, like that's, you just take what's there. I'm not looking to.
Oh man.
And yeah, just coming out firing, ready to go. Now again, being 8-0 against like a guy like Joe Colon, you're not feeling. I'm not feeling more comfortable. I'm still like, dude, this guy can still come back and beat me.
Yeah. Like need to seal it off and not shut down. Right?
That's right.
But I gotta think you're just feeling great at this point.
Hassan Garcia just say, hey, Nahshon, you're good. You're winning. Relax. It's all right. And Colon, he's waiting for that. You see his right hand ready to catch that, a double and then and pull me up.
Yeah. Did you do a lot of game planning for this?
I got so much better at not letting guys get underhooks on me.
Sure. Oh goodness. Man. That was nasty.
So nasty.
Now describe this feeling versus the NCAAs. It's a bigger deal because you're on the world team. It's a smaller arena. It's a smaller hoopla, if you will. But yeah, I'm curious.
Oh my gosh! It didn't hit me until I had won, where I was like, I made a world team. I have zero idea what's going on right now. This is absolutely insane. Yeah, I was just pumped up. Yeah, it's just you don't know what you. I just didn't know, man, and experience that was like, oh wow, something great just happened right now.
Really incredible.
Yeah, man, really incredible stuff.
And so explain to me, we don't have to get long and drawn out, but this didn't end well because, you just made the world team, boom, an injury comes in. I don't even, was it a pec or a leg or a knee?
Yeah.
Was it a pec? Okay, yeah. And then you can't wrestle the world. So what happened and how did you handle it? Nikki, you can cut this off. Actually, you know what? Let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah, what is it? Young guy have to say?
Yeah. Over here. Let's hear.
I told my pick around.
Oh yeah.
So your first world team, people will be a little tight. You have the butterfly out here. How do you have the power to take those risks?
Get better in the match. I think that as I go, I get better, and that's really what I do.
So what's it take from here once you go to the best to get the top of that podium?
Well, we've been doing it every single day in the match. And here's the deal is that the best guy had to win today. The best guy has to win. That's why they do 2 out of 3. So I'm excited. We've been doing it. My coach is one of the best coaches, and we've been doing it every day.
How about it, folks? Mr. Nahshon Garrett, congratulations. Awesome job. Thanks for being with us.
That's emotion right there. That is straight emotion.
Straight emotion. Great feeling. It's hard not to attach to those kind of emotions, right? Because it's like you don't get to experience. Many people don't get to experience that level of high emotion, that dopamine, that serotonin, that feeling, it's you have to learn how to let go, how to let go of it. Am I still on here with you guys? Oh yeah.
No, yeah.
Learn how to let go of that, man. But it's beautiful. Watching back, it's so beautiful. But there's a part of it that's a little haunting too, because it's just like, oh man, like I miss that feeling, and you want to have that feeling again. And so it's one of the things that I think many people may struggle with, even transitioning into, getting out of wrestling, or out of professional athletics at all. It's like I've been to the top of the mountain, and now there's just you're a regular kind of person, and in some ways, but where do you find that level of high again? Where do you find that level of great experience? And so it's beautiful to watch back.
Have you? And that's interesting. I was thinking, you ended up saying, right? Like, yeah, some people. How do I get back there? I'm done with sports. And maybe people hang on to sports too long because they get that feeling from sports and they want it, but it's harder to get as you get older, as we know, and it's just harder to win. So, do you ever think of like, what am I gonna chase now? I'm not chasing wins and this high feeling and like what. And I know we have more of your career to talk about, but since we're here, I'm like, have you thought about what you're going to chase or how you're going to fill that void?
Yeah, I'm in a place where I'm walking day by day. I think the things that are in front of me that are very important are my relationships that I'm continuing to build. Obviously my relationship with my wife, right, is very key. My relationship with myself too, knowing more about who I am, how I operate, how I respond to the events and circumstances of life, how I can give back to other people. Maybe there's a sense of fulfillment in that. I think at the end of the day, I think every major religion or every true belief will come to show that giving back is the greatest type of fulfillment that we can have. And so I wonder, I don't think that I still think that there's some things that I can do as an individual to experience a fuller sense of accomplishment for myself. But I also think that in the end, the greatest expression of that is not service to self, but service to other people. So I see that coming in too. And then the reality is that like I made a decision to pull back from competitive wrestling to heal my own relationship with myself and to get a sense of like a stronger foundation for myself and also with my wife too. Because we in our last almost 10 years together have spent a total of 2.5 years like living together. So
crazy.
Establishing our relationship, that became a vital part for me in moving forward. So it's one of the reasons why I had to step back, just because I'm like, all right, let me develop this a little bit more fully and let this mature a little bit better. So that's sort of where I'm at right now.
So those two, the 9 or 10 years you've been with your wife, not married, but known her, I believe, right? And 2.5 of those years you've lived together. Is the last 2.5 years you've lived together, or is it spotty, or do you live together? I know for a while you were like training and living somewhere and she was somewhere else. But like, where do you guys live? Do you live together now, or are you getting ready to?
Yeah, we're getting ready to live together now. So the last 3 years I've lived in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. Bethlehem?
And so, yeah, in Pennsylvania, in Bethlehem. And so she lived in South Carolina. And so I was only supposed to really be here for like a year. And that was the year that I took second in 2023. So I gone through the trials, wrestled Vito. And then after that, it was really supposed to be over. But it's like, okay, well, might as well go to the trials, and then well, the trials are done. Might as well just give ourselves another chance at the weight class that we did so well at.
Yeah.
And so it was sort of just like, it was really only supposed to be 1 year, but it became now all of a sudden we're here for 3 years, and when and so she's traveling. She's a professor, so it takes a lot of strain on her. It's a lot of finances for her to see each other.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes a burden, and then the grace for that starts to wane a little bit. Where you're just like, I'm like, man, I want to be with my wife, and there's a sense of like isolation and loneliness, and even as a male, compartmentalizing things. Like I'm a very out of sight, out of mind kind of person, and so like, all right, I have this person I'm married to, but also have this person who's not here too, and so just dealing with the intricacies of that. It became a little bit difficult, to be honest, a lot of very difficult for me,
Sure.
And I think also for her too. And so that's essentially why, where we are. And had it been the case, and if it were the case that we were together, and be in the same place and have an access to good training, I would maybe continue another 4 to 5 to 6 years. I don't look at myself and say I'm not as good as I once was. In fact, I feel like I'm getting better, but I can't allow a sacrifice of my relationship and a sacrifice of myself to chase that dream right now. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to do such a thing, especially when I feel like I'm having some pains and hurts in my own life, and then not wanting to spread and expand that to other people, particularly my wife. And so, if God willing, or if it happens to where we're together and I'm able to train full time, I would want to say come back, but that's just not the way it's working out right now.
Are you moving to South Carolina or?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's any RTCs in South Carolina.
No, the South Carolina RTC of South Carolina.
The NGRTC. The Nahshon Garrett.
Yeah, no. NGRTC.
Maybe one day. Not NJ, NG.
Yeah, that's right. Okay,
so this takes us to like, did you know, or when did you know that this was it not till you lost to Jax and until that tournament, or did you come in being like, all right, if I'm going to give it one more shot and I'm going to try to make the 25 world team, but this is it, or and along the way, of course, if you lose at U.S. Open, maybe you call it then, or was it like after you lost, you were just like, was it premeditated or in the moment? I guess is kind of what I'm asking.
Yeah, no, it's been premeditated for some time now.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot. Me going to the trials last year, I was good, and that's why I didn't continue wrestling after the loss to Blaze, because I'm like, I'm good. I did my best. I felt ready. I think I competed well. I got beat, and now I'm ready to sort of move on. So like, from that time, which was in September of last year, September of last year, from then till basically, the U.S. Open, or actually, it was then till I want to say maybe even January. The first few months, maybe first 4 or 5 months, I would say probably the first 3 months, I was telling Carrie, I'm like, hey, I'm good. Because I can't afford to move right now, I'm willing to stay around. I'd love to help out. I can help coach. I'll help train. I'll be around for the guys, for the Lehigh guys, but I didn't want to compete. I was good as competitively. I felt like I was good. But the way that it worked out was like, hey, we don't really have a contract for that kind of position. Where like, if you're not competing, I don't know what we can really do there. And I'm like, okay, well, okay, that's fine. I will compete. And so we sort of incentivized the competing in a way, that allowed for, me to still get paid and then
make a living,
still provide my duty, my service to the wrestling, to Lehigh Valley. And so during that time, to be honest, I had let go of a lot, and I felt that I'm just getting better at wrestling. It's just a part of my life. I enjoyed going to work out and not over focusing on winning or what I have to do to win. I let go of the idea of being a world champ. It wasn't a real desire for me. I just wanted to get better and hope that that would show up in my execution. I particularly think I've gotten better, and I'm still better than I have ever been. But it's because I had learned how to let go. I had learned very specific skills that allowed me to be free from the pressures of competitive wrestling. So then in the end, I showed up, I was there, I was ready to compete. And then, I was whatever happened. Okay. It happens and we let it go. And so that's sort of where I was with respect to, and then again, I had my own struggles, like on the side that, there's just the sort of the pains and that you experience, it's tough. So yeah, that's where I was ultimately.
Okay. And let's get into maybe this last US Open. Surely you'd heard the name Jax Forrest. Maybe you'd seen him wrestle. You knew he's pretty good, but he just looks like a tall drink of water. Though I know he's a great wrestler. He doesn't physically, he doesn't look like he's chiseled, right? He's not chiseled, but he's amazing. What did you know about him beforehand? And then we'll pull up that match. But did you know much about him, accomplishments, or technically kind of what he was like on the mat?
No, I did. I'd actually wrestled with him a little bit when we were at the in Colorado Springs, and yeah, I mean, other than him just being just pace and just being willing to wrestle through positions and being funky, I was like, man, I like the kid. When we were backstage, it was there was a sense of mutual respect, and he was like, it's an honor to be able to wrestle with you, and I'm like, likewise, a new up and comer, and so there was a sense of mutual respect there, and I think that that there wasn't a sense of like, oh, I need to prepare for this match or do anything else like that. It was like, hey, you have a guy who's gonna wrestle you. But, it's not gonna be easy, but at least you got two guys who are willing to go get after it. And so, yeah. So did I expect it to turn out that way? I mean, obviously not at all. It's almost like I'm like, man, I wish there was just some positions that I wish I could have got in again, because I'm like, again, like there's some calls that I wish had not gone his way and had gone a different way. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's like still like another 5 minutes of wrestling. Yeah, I would love to wrestle again.
I'd love to see you guys continue to scrap, because it was good. Nick, if you want to pull this over, the Jax Forrest match, this was the quarterfinals from the US Open that just happened. Of course, Jax goes on to win the whole thing, but same thing. You can just kind of talk us through this and comment however you feel. Or what you
I just knew like there was a sense of mutual respect, and I did want to get after it. I wish I had it was one of my things, like, yeah, and like in this kind of position, this is like, oh, like I'm just like very, very good at finishing, again, high percentage. I had thought that I had gotten this one, but again, that was one of those things that just didn't go your way. We challenged because I thought he had stepped out.
Well,
but I was ready to wrestle.
I watched it slow this morning. His foot went halfway out, but I believe his supporting part went out before yours. Though freestyle's very.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, he did slip behind you afterwards.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, but I went frame by frame and I punched it forward, and he did post. It wasn't his hand. I think it was his knee or his head touched out before yours, but he ends up on top afterwards. So
But he ends up on top. So it was a good challenge in my opinion. But I was like, yeah, normally I'll get here, and I'm like, yeah, I whipped him that way because I'm like, there's no way I'm not going to score from that.
Yeah.
But so now they say he's up by
3.
It's now 3, right?
Yeah.
And there's still some wrestling. There's still some wrestling to go. Wow. Now, I think the one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to get right back to that leg, because Again, I felt that I was quicker than him on a single leg there, but like I should have been thinking get back to that front leg. And so, but again, like he's scrapping, man. He's ready to go. He's holding position, and I just wish that I think I would have held position a little bit better and not chased as much, because I think that would have benefited me to not have gotten into positions where I was not very where I didn't know what was going on. If I know what's going on, it makes it a little bit easier for me. So at this point, again, I haven't seen this match. This is the first time I'm seeing it.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely think you're quicker than him. I think you're probably quicker than him.
He's doing a good job clearing out, and that I didn't realize I had gotten away from that so many different times. Now, this is a position where I feel very comfortable, going into there. Like the fact that, and even that, like they gave him, like
they offered two right there.
Again, they offered two. The mat judge offered two. So now he's up 5, and I'm like, I have zero idea what's going on.
And you can't challenge,
You can't challenge, and it's like, all right. I feel like there's a lot, and then that was sick. I mean, what are you gonna say?
So
you know what
slick.
I mean? That was just. I've never been slick. I've never had anything like that ever happen to me. That was freaking slick as heck. I asked him after too, and now he's like going to town on top. I'm fighting hard here because I'm like, I can't let this go, and I've gotten so much better on bottom, thankfully. But yeah, he's boom right to it, boom right to the transition, and now it's 9-0, 8-0.
It's 9. That's the crazy thing about freestyle is it's somewhat tight match, but it's not. It's like it's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like a couple things don't go your way, you challenge it, and now all of a sudden, like I'm down by 9, and what's going on? So like, is this guy 9 points better than me, or are we? So you just, those are things that you can't. That was out of my control. And so like at this point in time, it should be like adjustment period. What's the adjustment here? And I wish that the adjustment would have been to kind of slow down, look for looking to slow down and pick my positions, and picking those positions probably would have been looking for ones, maybe looking just to get a couple ones on a single leg, because I think that had I gotten to that single leg a couple more times, I think it would have been different. And I think if I get on top, where it's a different match. But again, a great competitor, extremely kind kid, extremely mature wrestler, and it was I was happy to wrestle a kid like that 100%.
Yeah. So this now sets up Jax and Vito Russo, right? World champ, he's bronze last year. You wrestled him in Final X in 2023. You know him real well. I'm not, well, you can pick a winner if you want, but actually, I'm going to ask you to pick a winner, but you don't have to. But, like, just how do you see this playing out? How do these styles match up? What do you think about, Vito versus Jax, having wrestled them both? I'm sure you've wrestled Vito more, but you did get your hands on Jax.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're not, I could never vote against Vito.
Sure.
He's a world champ.
Yep.
2-time medalist, NCAA champ. Like I'm not going to bet against him. With respect to who I believe would win. I on paper Vito. Now that being said, I think it's a good matchup. I'm interested in seeing how. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing how Jax would, because he's got so many different ways of scoring. But like Vito's hard to score on, dude. And he also he was also really good in high school too. So like he knows how to wrestle guys who are gonna wrestle him. He's slick too. He's fast. He's got some cool stuff too. So. Yeah, I definitely see Vito coming out on top. but not without, maybe Jax maybe hitting a couple different things that may surprise him. But like, again, with Vito wrestling with, being a great high school wrestler also, and then wrestling with Yanni too. Like, Yanni's good at his slide bys and his pass bys, and I don't think Jax is going to have anything that Vito hasn't felt before. And so I see Vito winning in 2.
Do you see the biggest difference being feet or parterre?
Parterre.
Okay.
I don't like. I mean, Vito just kills people with his lace. So he's amazing on top. He's got amazing transitions. But again, like, Jack's no slouch, obviously.
Yeah,
right? So it's like, I think that Vito I think his position, if I was to compare, like, positionally, he knows his freestyle positions very, very well. So he's not going to be in like a situation where, unless someone, steps up and exposes him, like he's very freestyle savvy and very freestyle oriented. So, I see, I don't see how it could happen. That, again, anything's possible, but
right.
I see Vito definitely winning the match again, but not without a fight.
Yeah. Okay, and since you just brought up, Vito and freestyle, and that makes me think freestyle, folkstyle. Like, for you, Nahshon Garrett, I know you folkstyle stopped senior in college, but which one do you like wrestling more? Wrestling, coaching, do you have either style that you like more?
I like freestyle now. It took me a while to get to the point where I liked it, because I had been so brainwashed by the folk style mentality. Folk style mentality is very, it's really just pace and conditioning, with technique, folk style, freestyle is position and technique, and then pace. So that's how I would build that. I really started to fall in love with the idea of position, and how having a game plan, a specific game plan for you can work. Now, that being said, if you can take the skills from freestyle and then hold position, you'll be a killer in folk style. If someone has a hard time scoring on you, just getting through your head hands, or if they get to your leg and the defense to it, you're gonna be winning more in folk style. So that's sort of, I like freestyle a lot more now, though, just because it's so much more technical. There's a lot of position. Oh, what is he doing? How is he doing this? How is he scoring in this position? That's how I'm seeing it.
I agree. I like freestyle better than folk style for a lot of reasons. Just, it's more exciting. The bigger, better, stronger people do it. Two votes for freestyle here, so I like that.
2 votes.
And really, kind of getting more towards the end here, but do you want to stay involved? Do you want to coach? Do you want to get a career in something else? Do you want to be a singer? You have a lot of talents, but what do you see yourself doing when you grow up, if you will?
So, yeah. So I have a lot of different ideas that I'd like to expand into, and I don't really see myself doing just one thing for the rest of my life. Yeah. But obviously, I've developed a lot of skills and a lot of talents and a lot of abilities through the sport of wrestling. So, in whatever way I can give back with respect to like coaching and mentorship and leadership roles, I would like to do that. I have some ideas, which if anybody's watching this and would like to help me expand on these ideas, I have like a system that I sort of want to build, which is like it's sort of like a wrestling like optimization system, which sort of it takes everything that I've learned through wrestling, like mindset training, spirituality, consciousness, nonlinear dynamics, metaphysics, and kind of teaches athletes how to master the entire game, body, mind, and spirit. And so it's a course that I want to kind of launch. It's called the Conscious Wrestler, which helps wrestlers overcome fear, get into the flow, and complete from a place of clarity and presence. It's a little bit different than most like mental coaching, although I've had some really great mental coaches in my life. Shout out to Josh, and also shout out to Dr. T, who have been wonderful for me in my mental competitive space. But I want to bring teachings in from performance psychology, universal laws, and non-duality. And I think that kind of provides like a little bit of a different perspective. And then sort of building a community that sort of works on media projects, coaching systems, and maybe even some retreats. And so I want to help people not only master the skills and techniques, but also master life with respect to that. So, so that's one thing that I have. I do enjoy business. I enjoy venturing out. I like media. So my little camera here.
We've seen your videos.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I love
you know what I'm saying. And so we got whiteboards. We want to teach. We want to expand a little bit more. I like law. I really like law too. I've been studying law for a little bit. And just like things that I can do to help other people. I'm so interested in that kind of thing. So that's sort of where I'm at right now. I love teaching. I love mentorship. I love challenging myself. But I want to do something that I enjoy doing. And that can be measurable, and observable. And I feel like having a system or philosophy that like can be like a ground level foundation for people, where they can actually see, measurable results of like their life getting better. How can I apply some spiritual principles and laws, and a paradigm that truly they can see in their life that, oh, wow, I see wrestling as a tool for helping to shape me in my own evolution as a competitor. So the idea that is, I call it competitive evolution, and it's just modules of training that focus on key transformations like power versus force, non-dual awareness, thought mastery, fear transmutation, and then very, very conscious competition. So that's sort of where I'm at right now. But I do enjoy business and everything else, and not to beat a dead horse.
No, I love it. I love all those ideas and encompassing the full body, mind, like you said, body, mind, and soul. For a wrestler. So I wish you well, and I'm going to keep my eyes out for what that turns into or evolves into. So just a couple last things before first one's pretty easy. Maybe it's not that easy. It's just one answer. Nahshon Garrett, who's your all-time favorite wrestler?
Jordan Burroughs.
It's the number one answer we get. Rightfully
Jordan
so.
Burroughs. Yeah, I met Jordan in 2011 for the first time, and it was like, it's like meeting, your childhood hero. I mean, I still get starstruck when I hang out with Jordan. Like, we've been on teams together. Yeah. We've wrestled together, and he is easily, it is so cool to know a person like that, and your idol, and I never saw it. He was like one of those people who, when you watch him wrestle, I just never, I didn't know that I could wrestle like that, or you just don't know, and then you watch him like, oh my gosh, I think I can. I want to wrestle like that. This is the kind of guy I want to wrestle like. And it just so happened that everything lined up where FloWrestling was showing Jordan Burroughs videos, and then being able to watch him do what he did, in real time, and then sort of be around him too. And as he's moving in that direction to cross paths, I mean, it's brilliant to me. It's really, really cool. Whoever wrote this thing, Great job. This is a great story. Great job. This is so cool.
Yeah, I love it. Great answer. And this next one, it's called Wins and Whoopins. And so normally, when it's not a retirement show, I just like to hear about one win that stands out from your career and one time you got your ass kicked, which we could do, and we will do. But well, let's just start with recall one whooping. Everybody, you have so many. You've handed out countless butt whoopings, but everybody's had been on the receiving end too. So it's always interesting to hear from the person's perspective the whooping that stands out the most. Or do you remember just when you got rag rolled and you're like, I don't even know how to wrestle.
I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to look back at the moments in my past where I was just like, dude, there was just no way I was gonna beat that guy. The only whooping I can think about, which was just a definitive whooping, which definitive in the sense that like I wrestled this guy 3 times. I don't think I got one takedown. I mean, it was Delgado. I mean, it's like you wrestle him. And it's like you're always so close, and I would say that it did get closer. The first time I wrestled him, it was 5-10. 5-10. He took me down, 5 times, and then it got closer and got closer, but also it was never close. Like it was close, but it wasn't. And so I'm gonna say that was probably. I'm trying to think of someone who just beat the living dog crap out of me. But like, I mean, there's a lot of people who did that in practice that, that I could think of. But no one in an actual competition. I'm like, dude, there's just no way I'm going to beat that guy.
Sure.
Okay. Not in Folkstyle. In freestyle, I mean, it's a little bit different because it's easy to score points. Like,
yeah. Like Jax scored 10 points, but I wouldn't say he just like dominated you. He outpositioned you, right?
He outpositioned me. And that's the thing. That's the thing about freestyle. It's like, dude, you can do all the right things. You have your heart rate variability, and then have your
and then lose 1 or 2 sequences,
and then it's done.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not about like how, again, conditioning is important. You have to be conditioned,
right?
For those matches that are important. But like this wasn't a conditioning match. This was a positional match.
Yeah.
Which got out of hand. Like what I needed to do again was, and this is what even from the Blaze match, I'm like, what you need to do is slow down, get to where you want to be, and you have to learn how to fire off from where you want to be, especially against guys who know how to counter and who are ready to go really quick. So yeah, that's one thing that, if I were to come back, it's okay. Let's just slow down, pick where you want to be, and then go. And I've been training that way too, but it was just, when you're in the heat of the moment, you're just like, oh, I just want to get after it. And it's like, maybe you shouldn't get after it for a second. Maybe just pull back from getting after it and just think control. Because there was even a couple of times with the Jax Forrest, like I felt that I was significantly stronger than him, and when I put my hands on him. And when I got to his wrist, I felt that maybe he wasn't as comfortable when I got to his wrist and I was squeezing onto his wrist. I'm like, maybe you keep on getting to his wrist and control that position, bang, bang, now to your single, or, to the other side, and make him wrestle out of those positions and make him, attack you from there, and then you reattack. So, that those are the kind of things that kind of go into my mind when I think about, that. But again, that's just areas of just getting better, and so I don't look at that as like, oh, I'm not, it's like, no, we can always get better. I mean, I would love to just be able to execute control. Can you control a guy for 6 minutes who's going to try and attack you? Can you hold better position than them, even though they're firing off on you? And that's something I would think. But sorry, I'm just yapping. Where were we at?
That's right. Yeah, Delgado was the guy that beat you 3 times, and whatever. Let's go with one win from your career. It can be 103-pound. One win that just stands out. It can be a kid that always beat you in your region. You finally beat. It could be the national finals. It can be making a world team. It can be any match. But one match that just this win stands out. as memorable to you for whatever reason?
Okay. That's memorable. I want to say, I do want to say it was probably a high school match. I'm trying to think about what the name of the person was. There's like a couple high school matches that do stand out to me. The first one is like the avenging of a loss that I had my first year ever wrestling. So my first year ever wrestling, I actually made it all the way to the NorCal State Championships. And I made it to the finals my first year wrestling at 70 pounds. Now, I had wrestled a guy there who freaking, he beat me up pretty good. He was obviously the better wrestler. And then 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th, 11th. 4 years later, I wrestled in the finals of a tournament, and I beat him by 5 points. So, that was like a man. I beat this kid, who beat me my first year. That was kind of a pretty cool experience from high school. And then I'm trying to think. In college, I mean, you'd have to give it to the memorable moment of me being an All-American. Like, you beat 2-time national champ, 3-time national finalist, and in his last year in Iowa. Like, that was the experience right there. That's what sets. You lose a match, and maybe I come back and take third still. But it's different. That was a very, very memorable moment for me, and I think for a lot of people who were able to watch that.
Yeah, that was Matt McDonough, right? I feel like I remember watching this and being like, "Oh my God, Nahshon just beat Matt McDonough on the backside." And it was tight. Was it maybe? I don't know. Was it right outs, or I'm just totally going off memory?
I was 2 seconds away from getting a ride out, the ride out point that would put me a win in regulation. And so I was 2 seconds away. We're in overtime. I've hit maybe 5 or 6 doubles on him throughout the match. I can't. And he just boom, legs back, Iowa style, long, lengthy, and hips back. And then so I knew that I couldn't drive through, or I wasn't able to drive through. So when I hit it, and he gave me hip, I went inside trip, and as I inside tripped him, I locked up underneath his hips and was able to get his hips up and then bring him down to the mat. And that was one of the first times I celebrated out of doing something that that was beyond what you believe or what you think you can do, because it just happened.
I'm picturing that as you're explaining this. It's coming back to my memory, and I'm seeing the double and the inside trip and the lock and the bringing the leg, all of it. It's slow motion. I'm like, oh my God. Because I just assumed, right, no offense, I just assumed McDonough was going to win, right? And I knew you were good, you had a shot, but he was, 2-time, all the things you said, he's great. But I was like, he freaking did it. Holy cow.
Did it.
What a stud.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, it's like, I think, the freshman, that freshman year, if you can get a couple great moments like that, it almost changes everything for you, especially at the national tournament, where it's like, for example, even Gabe Dean beating, Ed Ruth. It's like, you have if you can rise to some of those moments as a young freshman, you really can see the light, at the end of the tunnel with respect to growth and dude, you're going to be great. And so it was cool to be able to have that experience. Cause earlier on, we had wrestled at the national duels. He beat the dog crap out of me. He beat me. I got the first takedown in the first 5 seconds, boom, blast double, got him.
I can imagine.
And then, after that, he just rolled the crap out of me. So I think he'd have beaten me 8-3 or something like that. But there was just no way I was going to get away from him. He was just better than me on top. And so my coaches actually put me for months, I would never be able to start in a regular position on bottom. I was always starting flat, and I had to learn how to build up from flat. They always put me, Nahshon, go flat. And so
Genius.
it ended up working in the end. Genius stuff.
Was that Cole? Whose idea was that? Damian Spades?
I mean,
I don't even know if Spades was still there.
I mean, probably Gray and Cole.
Gray,
I mean,
yeah.
I would probably say Han there too. Like they all had a hand in like, you know, no, go flat. And I'm like, oh, man, you know, you're wrestling like good guys, you know, guys who are doing Blair rides on you. I'm like, dude, come on, man. I can't even get out of this. You know, I can't get out of Blair right now.
Every day in practice, you're MFing them, and then it comes to nationals, you get away, and you're like, oh, I guess that was actually right.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
I guess.
Yeah, man. What a ride! And I just like think like, especially you know, preparing for this show and like going back through our site and looking at all the old videos and seeing like that 103-pound kid and the little boy in the tie in the film, and like it's just been cool to like, well, one, to get to, you know, in person meet you and kind of watch you grow over the last 10, 12, 13, however many years, and to see your career basically start and finish. I didn't see the high school side of it, but it's like, it's been awesome. And to watch you grow and evolve and change as a person, you know, it's like, it's been something cool, and you're always very open, and you're down to come on podcasts, and you make content, and you're just like, you're a very fun person to watch. It's been an awesome career to follow and a great person to know. So just wanted to put that out there that I, you know, freaking love everything about you.
Man, I appreciate that. And man, it's you know, it's I have a great sense of appreciation for you guys, what you've been doing at Flow. I mean, you've been there since really the beginning, and watching you guys expand and be there to cover our careers, and you know, especially like when we're just coming up. Like, thankfully, we had just hit it right when that social media started to pull up, and so you know, it's been a journey, you know, and it's been fun. Not that it's over fully, but it's you know, it's I feel a great sense of appreciation for you guys there at Flow, and especially you, Mark, for being around and covering these things, man.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, man, and I appreciate it. I have a prediction. You're retiring. I think we're going to see at least one more match. I don't know if it's in the Masters division. I don't know if you come back for U.S. Open in a year or 4 years, or you know, maybe you just pull up to the NYAC 1 year. I don't know. I just feel like we're going to send Nahshon. It might be 65 kilos. He's going to be strong and fast. He's retired, and I don't think you're going to be a full-time wrestler ever again, maybe. But I do think we're going to see a strap up the singlet and slap hands and hear that whistle at least one more time. But and if not, awesome, great, good for you. Glad you had your great career, but I don't know. I feel like you're telling me the door's open. Crack is there. You're gonna get the itch.
There's a chance
at some point. Yeah. Whether I don't know if you're gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be awesome. Okay.
It is.
How about this? I'm gonna name a couple scenarios or matches or people, and if anybody a name pops in the head, but you know, your best win or a big comeback, or your favorite match, or a match where you overperformed, or a match where you underperformed, or a match where you got super nervous, or the slickest person or strongest person you ever wrestled, or the meanest, most physical, or somebody you looked forward to wrestling, somebody you hated getting ready to wrestle for. I threw a lot of things at you, but if there's any of those, you're like, this guy, man, this guy fits into one of those categories.
Yeah, a guy I hated getting on top of me was Alan Waters. Like, I was young, and he was one of the first guys who, like, dang, I just had never been ridden out, and he was the first guy to ride me out. He's
a stage 5 clinger. He was very clean.
Stage 5 clinger. I've never just like. Amazing on top. So he was the kind of guy I'm like, dude, I don't know why I went underneath him, but like I'm glad I didn't stray away from it, because at least you get to know for yourself. But that was one of the first times I was like, dude, he kind of mentally got in my head. I'm like, dude, get off of me. Like, let's wrestle. Yeah. I am wrestling.
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Guys I was like looked forward to wrestling. I liked the idea of wrestling Gilman, just because it was the Iowa. I really liked the drama.
Yeah.
I really wish I could have been in more dramatic situations, because I like the hype of that kind of thing too. I like the chirping and stuff too. I think it's fun. I think it's more fun than actual real. But let's see here. Who else? I'm trying to think about who the slickest wrestler. Joey Dance hit me with a low single that was freaking slick back in the day in the finals of Vegas. Brewer was just a guy that was just like, he's just so big and just has pace. He's the kind of guy I was just like, damn, it's either all or nothing with him. And so I was always ready and excited to wrestle with him, but also like, dang, this could go any way. Let me see here. David Terrell was a guy who was like, I was so thankful to not have. I was so thankful that I just didn't get. He maybe one time had got me with some like a pass by with this little kick thing.
Yep.
But other than that, I was so thankful to not have gotten thrown by him. I was just one of those people. I was like, please don't throw me to my back. I would say Megaludis was one of those guys who was like, man, it's gonna be a pace. He's gonna get me at some point in time. I don't know when, but he's gonna like do something, and I'm gonna not move my feet, and he's gonna grab me. Who else? Let's see. I want to say, I'm trying to think about who else was around. Yeah, Scotty Parker was always going to make it a fight. I felt significantly better than him, but he was always like, dude, come on, man. Like, come out here and fight me. It's like, just, let me see.
Tell me about wrestling Seth Gross. I feel like you guys put up football scores.
Oh my gosh, Seth Gross. That's right. Yeah, Seth Gross and Joe Colon too. I was thinking a lot about college, but like even in, let me see. Like, Seth Gross was a guy who are just style matches up, man. I will take Seth Gross over anyone else. Truly. I mean, I would pick Seth Gross over everyone because he's a very, very difficult person to wrestle. And he knows his positions especially with his left leg. Like, he knows how to defend incredibly. And unless you felt it, he's gonna get you. Now, my coach, Mike Gray, was also a left leg lead. And so all of the tricks of the left leg and all the weird stuff that could happen, I got used to wrestling guys who were weird left leg leads. So I got used to learning whenever I got it, just come up as soon as you can, and get through it. Don't hang out down there. And so you hang out down there, weird stuff starts to happen. So whenever I wrestled him, I was just like, just either get to the edge or come up. And get through it, and don't mess around too much down there, because so that was him. And then obviously Cologne too, because it was like he's just a tough wrestler. Let me see here. Anybody else who's
how many times
anybody else here?
Tony Ramos. You guys wrestled a few times, right? Too.
Ramos is one of those guys who was just like, he found a way to win at the end always. So he was also like, again, strong, hold position, doesn't do much, and then again, he's the perfect, the guy who win position, and then score when he like easy as that. And again, he was a 4 or 5 time world team member or something like that. Like he made the
I think
team
he just made two in a row right out of college.
Just 2 in a row. Okay.
14, 15. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe it was on 13. I think it was on 2. But yeah, he held it down right away.
He held it down. He held it down right away, and he was always, again, hard. One of those guys hard to beat. You had to beat him in that 5th, 6th minute, as opposed to I think I scored on him early, and then it's just like, now I'm holding on. I'm like, dude, this sucks. I have to just. He's just pulling on my head. I'm trying to get away from this guy. And he's just pulling. So, He was also really, really good guy. Let me see. Yeah, I'm trying to think that these are all, man, amazing wrestlers. I mean, Tomasello was amazing. Vito, obviously. I mean, amazing. So quick. I don't want to leave anyone out, but yeah, that's as far as when I can think. Anyone else in your head that
I
you
think
can?
there might have been another name or two that I scrolled by that popped out, but those were all the ones you mentioned, and the couple that I said are the ones that I'm like, I see these names over and over. Nahshon versus, wrestled these dudes multiple times, and they're all, NCAA champs and world team members.
Austin DeSanto is the one. Austin DeSanto. DeSanto is one of the one guys I'm like, dude, come on, man, I don't want to wrestle this guy. But at the same time, there was always so much respect, like so much respect for him, and his pace and the way that he goes. And there was one time when we were when we wrestled in France, or was it? I think it was Nice in France, and I was up by 8 points. I take him down, gone, and I just saw in his eyes this willingness to keep going, and I wanted to feel that. So I started getting in this hand fight with him because I was like, I wanted the intensity that I wanted to wrestle with that intensity too. And then when I started wrestling like that, I started boom, 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 because I wasn't conditioned. I wasn't conditioned to wrestle like that. But he was like one of those guys who, when I was in that match, I was like, man, I want to wrestle with that kind of intensity, that kind of like grinded out intensity. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for me to wrestle like that, but it did help him out. Yeah. Like, all right, I can't wrestle a guy who wrestles like that, so I have to be quick and fast and do that. But sometimes I want to grind a guy out too. I want to put my hands on somebody too, but it's not in my skill set to do that. So,
everybody's got their own way to make it work, right? Obviously.
Everyone's got their own way. That is true.
Yeah, and yours made for a lot of wins and a lot of winning and a lot of entertainment. The speed, the power, the technique, like amazing. So really, that's kind of brings us to the end of the line for now. Oh, I think there's one more match somewhere at some point down the line, but I'm going to leave you with the final word, Nahshon, to say really anything you want to say about your career, life, whatever, wrestling, philosophy.
Yeah. I'm super thankful. There's a lot of people who I would like to thank, and for those people, you know who you are. This has been the best journey for me in my life, and man, I'm so thankful to be part of it. Self-mastery. Let's continue to grow and develop as human beings. And I think, here's what I will say. I think that the sport of wrestling is going to evolve and is evolving. There's a paradigm around wrestling that is changing. I would like to be a part of implementing the philosophy and the paradigm and give like some type of constitution, some specific systematic strategic constitution to what that might look like. It's getting away from the fear, the anxiety, the worry, the stress, the not that it's not going to be hard, but this sort of like 80s, 70s, 60s mentality of like just we just came back from war and it's time to kill somebody on the mat. I think it's going to trend more towards an inner development and more towards again, like I said, self-mastery. And so I would like to be helping to usher in that new paradigm into wrestling, and I'm up for the conversation of what that might look like too. I have some ideas, but I'm up for the conversation what that might look like, because I think there's too many people who have left the sport or are even in the sport now who in some ways feel slighted and maybe even in a sense of like I know that I felt in sometimes like there's just this weight on you, and there's this weight of expectation. There's this weight of of performance, of all the things that we do struggle with as competitors, and I feel like there's a higher perspective that we can expand into as a collective with respect to wrestling. And I would love to see that thing expand out to where like people's lives are being actually transformed by wrestling instead of being like attaching to wrestling as an identity or a space for validation. My vision is that like kids who learn these concepts and these ideas, that their life is such a light to their parents and to their friends through the sport of wrestling that it actually that it starts to change their parents and change the people that they're around. And so that's the idea that I have servicing around there somewhere. So if anybody wants to brainstorm there, you guys let me know, and I would love to chat.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely a beacon, a shining example of somebody whose life wrestling has changed and just brought, I would imagine, so many great things are in your life because of wrestling and where it's brought you. So hopefully you can continue to foster that with the next generation and find a way to, like you said, bring your body, mind, soul, and everything else together to help improve, and like you said, self-mastery. So, Nahshon, thanks for coming on. Thanks for and congrats on an incredible career. And I know we're going to continue to see you around. So, look forward to the next time I bump into you.
Man, appreciate you. Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate you guys at Flow. We'll see you soon then.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great one.
All right.
Bye.
What's up, bro? You too.